Hey guys, I'm Emma Ryan, Integrative Nutrition Health Coach and founder and owner of Plant. Today we are going to make almond pulp crackers. If you watched my almond milk video, then you'll know that I told you to hang on to that almond pulp and I would give you something to do with it. So this is for you. We're going to use our almond pulp from our almond milk that we made. We're going to use ground flax seeds. We're going to use dried parsley, a garlic clove, some Himalayan salt, water, and olive oil, and that's it. So to start, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a flax egg. If you prefer to use a real egg and you're not vegan or not egg free, then you can do that as well. But I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of ground flax seed in 1/4 cup of water, and I'm just going to stir this up and let it sit while I make the rest of the batter. So if you guys can see this, we're just stirring in the ground flax with our 1/4 cup of water, and just let that set to the side for a few minutes. It'll start to absorb the water and thicken up into a flax egg. So now, while that sits there, I'm going to use 1.5 cups of our almond pulp. So this is just the almond pulp from one batch of almond milk. So watch my almond milk video. This is going to be the pulp that you have left over. And I'm going to go ahead and dump that into my food processor. And you guys can use any food processor you want. There's lots of different brands. They don't have to be expensive. They will all work. I'm going to go ahead and add in my 1/4 cup of olive oil. This is an extra virgin olive oil. And then I'll toss in my teaspoon of salt. I'll put in my single garlic clove. If you like it really garlicky, feel free to add more. Go wild with it, whatever you feel like. And I'm actually going to wait to do the parsley. Sorry, I almost did that first. But I'm going to wait to do that at the end so that it stays a little bit more whole and not as pureed, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start with this. Let that flax still sit there. Okay, so this is pretty well combined. It definitely needs that flax egg to give it more of a batter-like texture. So I'm going to go ahead and check to see how we're doing. Oh yeah, this is perfect. So you can see it thickened up into more of a gel. That's what we want. So we're going to go ahead and add in our flax egg, kind of pour it all around. You might be wondering why you would even make your own crackers when you can buy them. But these are a lot healthier. Obviously, if we make our own crackers, you're not going to get all the preservatives and chemicals and things like that. But also, if you are making your own almond milk, it's a great way to use your pulp and not have as much waste. So we'll see what you think when we get done here. So go ahead and put that back on there. And then we're going to blend this for another minute or so. Okay, once that goes for another minute or so, go ahead and check on it. So just use a spatula and kind of scrape the sides and make sure it all sticks together. That's essentially what you're looking for. It's a very thick dough. Okay, I think we're good. So now that this is done, and you can taste test it at this point if you want to. So now that this is done, I can add in my parsley. The only reason I didn't do it before is because I didn't want this to break up and turn all of the batter green. We just want to have little flakes of it on our crackers. So you can add your parsley in as I just did, and then go ahead and pulse it, but not for very long, just until it's just mixed in. Perfect. Okay. So now that our parsley is mixed in well, I don't know how well you guys can see this, but it's just barely mixed in. So we didn't puree it or anything like that, but it's very well incorporated. So now that your batter is completely done, you can taste it. You could add extra salt, extra garlic, pepper, any other herbs you might want at this point. There are sometimes I've even added a fresh tomato or zucchini. You can add more vegetables to it. The only thing to note on that is that it will add more water content, so you'll have to bake your crackers for a little bit longer, but it is a great way to incorporate more veggies if you want to do so. So again, now that this is done, I have my baking pan and I have a piece of parchment paper laid out. So I'm just going to put this on top. I'm going to dump my batter on top of my parchment paper, and you can just put it all in the very center if you want. Okay, so we have our batter here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay another piece of parchment paper on top of it. That way I can use my rolling pin and nothing sticks. So go ahead and take your second piece of parchment paper, flatten it out a little bit, and then take your rolling pin and you're just going to roll it out. You want these to be as thin as possible. The thinner they are, the crispier they're going to be. If you don't have a rolling pin at home, you could even use a glass and just roll it that way, or a can. You can get creative. So here's this. I'm just going to roll this out in both directions. Like I said, you want this to be as thin as possible. Oops. I'm going to pull it off the pan for a minute. And really get it nice and thin. Like I said, the thinner this gets, the crispier your crackers will be, which is what most of us want when we want crackers, right? We're craving that salty crunch. Okay, this is looking good. So now back on your pan, you can pull off the top layer of parchment once you feel like you've gotten it where you want it to be. It's one big oval for me today. Okay, so you can kind of see how thin that cracker layer is. And then I'm just going to use a butter knife and I'm just going to create, I'm just going to score it. So I'm just going to make lines and make little squares so that when my crackers are baked, they'll break off into the shape that I've cut. There we go. And at this point, you could do it at the beginning or you can do it now, but you can go ahead and get your oven to 350. And we're just going to bake it for 10 minutes on one side. Then we're going to flip them and bake them for another 10 minutes. There you go. So this is all. And again, like I said, we're going to bake this for 10 minutes on 350 and then we'll come back and flip them for another 10 minutes. Okay, so I just pulled my almond pulp crackers out of the oven for the first time. And as you can see, they're like kind of crispy on the outside. They're a little soft in the middle, but they're still getting crispier, if that makes sense. It's time to flip them. So I'm going to use another piece of parchment paper. I'm going to lay it on top, and I'm truly, without flying these all over the room, I'm just going to flip it. That is much easier than using a spatula. If you do it with the spatula, you're probably going to end up breaking a lot of crackers. So I recommend doing it this way. And then you're just going to peel back the parchment paper, and you'll kind of have to, using your fingers, you'll kind of have to press down on the crackers as you peel it back so that they don't break, if that makes sense. I guess I can do it this way and you can watch. So you're just peeling it back. And then as soon as you've gotten this parchment paper off, you'll just bake them for another 5 to 10 minutes until they're completely crispy, and then you're good to go. Okay, so we just pulled them out of the oven again. Mine only took about 5 more minutes. And as you can see, I got some really crispy edges, so you could even maybe do less than that. But now they're done. So these are our almond pulp crackers. Like I said, this is a great way to use your almond pulp so you don't have any waste. And they taste really good too. You can put them with hummus, or honestly, I've just been eating them plain. That works too. But anyway, let us know what you think of this recipe. Be sure to comment below, subscribe, let us know what you're wanting to see in the future. Feel free to email community@eatatplant.com, and I'll see you soon.